I want to take a minute to discuss the difference between biological sex and gender. This is a topic that, as a biology major, and then teaching biology and life science and courses like that for the last 9 years, I feel pretty uniquely qualified to discuss what it really means to separate biological sex from gender. So biological sex is influenced by genetics. It also is influenced by things like environment. So there are studies and cases. One example is Lake Apopka in Florida, where environmental influxes of synthetic hormones altered the sex of alligators. So in that lake, in particular during the 90s, due to a release of a bunch of synthetic hormones, they actually had a bunch of alligators that they were sampling that were intersex. So they were between biologically male and biologically female. So genetics certainly influences it. Environment certainly influences it. Gender, though, is the expression of what it means to an individual to be male or female, or however they identify. And so gender is a social construct where we add in all of these things of what we think it means to be male. In the biological sense, what it means to be male is a certain genetic makeup. But the things that we ascribe to what it means to be male, whether it's particular character traits or certain colors that we associate with being male or female, or activities, those are social constructs. Because if you think about it, there isn't a gene that makes blue a male color or pink a female color. There's nothing in that that's biological or genetic. Rather, that's something that our society has kind of built up over time. And so when we were talking about gender, it's not just the biological sex, but how someone chooses to express what it means to them to be male or female. And that's also why it's not just categorical male or female, because individuals can choose to express that in many different ways, which is where the disconnect comes. I think for a lot of folks that struggle with this concept, and there's obviously many in our society, is that they try to treat biological sex and gender as the same thing, and they just are not. And so it's important to make that distinction so that we can recognize that when someone is expressing their gender, whether they be cisgender, transgender, or otherwise, that what they are expressing is what it means to them to be male or female. And that is not the same thing as their biological sex. To understand what it means to them to be male or female also requires us to listen to them and to engage in a discussion with them. And so in the classroom, if we're struggling with how do we support a student in identifying what it means to them to be male or female or whatever, the first step is that we make sure that we listen and we give voice and we allow them to decide what it means to them, and we allow them the opportunity to express that, and we give them the space to do that.